Hi, my name is Jules, and I'm giving a brief description today of the Biofield healing that I offer. I'm starting a group this coming Monday, April 28th, for 4 consecutive Mondays at 7 p.m. And I wanted to just get on here today to give a description of what the Biofield is, how it helps us, and how it might benefit you. I was introduced to the Biofield healing in 2015. Up until that time, I had been a practicing and certified reflexologist since 1994 and a Reiki master since 1999. I first noticed the power of using energy healing and intention setting with some of the children I worked with in a school board role. I played as behavior support worker, supporting children who were getting expelled from school due to high-risk behaviors. I noticed that when I did Reiki out my eyes, or if I needed to cradle a child that may have been self-harming or hurting other people, and if I deeply relaxed and sent out the energy of Reiki, I could quickly de-escalate the situation and soothe the child. I also noticed when I did reflexology and Reiki with the children at a group home that I worked at, a treatment facility for children with high-risk behaviors, that the nights I was a child and youth care worker, the nights I would stay and do reflexology before they went up to bed. On my shifts, the kids would go to bed and sleep soundly. When I wasn't there, the kids were up, fooling around, getting into trouble, into mischief, usually because most of the kids had been abused, and nighttime was a really stressful time for them. So I noticed a huge change in their behavior, in their sense of calmness when I was using these beautiful healing modalities. In 1999, when I moved to Salt Spring Island from Ontario, I started my own work in energy healing. When one day, as I was going to go to work, I saw a bird hit the window to my home. Up until that time, I had tracked what was going on as direct experience with those children I worked with, but I still had a belief system that really doubted it all and wondered if it was just mind over matter, that if people believed it, that they would heal. So this bird hitting my window proved all of this to me, that it wasn't mind over matter. When I found the bird, it was near the window and I was about 10 feet away from it, and the eye was all bloody and bulged out and his body was very puffy. I sat about 10 feet away and cupped my hands together, said a quick prayer. I was late for work, so I just basically said, if this Reiki thing is real, please help this bird, because I knew my cat would probably eat it. Within about 4 minutes, everything changed for me around my belief systems. All the things that happened with those children, everything kind of landed for me that this is real. The bird started hobbling over the deck, cracks in the deck, and came within about 4 minutes into the palms of my hand. Every single hair on my body stood up. I couldn't believe it. And I started learning all I could about energy healing and what this work is all about. I furthered my studies into Reiki healing and became a Reiki master with Sister Eileen Curtis, who is a Benedictine nun in Victoria. I learned a lot about the power of relaxing the body. Someone else that really shared a lot about this with me is someone named Sarah Rankin. She is a medical integrative doctor who did a lot of research into the power of placebo effect and what that is, how that the mind over matter does actually make a difference. That was very interesting, that placebos work about 70% of the time, which is very interesting. But also she was showing how our natural mechanisms in our body that are our healing agents, the chemical releasing, all the different things that go on to help our body heal, don't really happen until we deeply relax. This made a lot of sense to me as I had experienced becoming a transcendental meditator and a Vipassana meditator in my life. And I learned the power of quieting our minds and listening deeply. The number one thing I hear as a response from people receiving the Biofield is that they are quieter than they've ever been inside. There's a stillness that happens and a relaxation that they've never experienced before in any other way. What the Biofield teaching taught me was that in the field that surrounds us, we have information available to us. Our body is tracking everything that's happened in our life in this field. It's like a recording device. So I'd like to share an example of how the Biofield healing work helps people to connect with this information and how it benefits us. I want to share a story about a woman who was in her 70s who came to me. Her initial reason for coming was back pain and abdominal pain, gastrointestinal pain. And she had been to doctors, she had been to different health practitioners and could not find a way to help herself. So she came in and booked 4 sessions with me of the Biofield healing. I remember in her second session, she burst into tears and started crying, which wasn't an abnormal thing for me to witness. However, when she did start talking, she communicated with me that was the first time in 70 years that she's ever cried. I was blown away. She shared a story with me about the sadness she was carrying all this time in the background of her mind that had to do with a child she chose not to have in her early 20s before her and her husband had been married. She shared that she felt a lot of guilt and remembered that because it was a sin in her church, even though she didn't tell anyone, she felt the need to punish herself. The tears that day were for a child that she chose not to have, and the grieving that had happened all those years that she probably had to shut down so that nobody would know. But also her insights around how she was punishing herself each and every day by not choosing the things that she really wanted in life. And she shared that there was a wondering about what her life had looked like if she had have given herself the things she really wanted, including that child. She knew she couldn't go back in life, but she knew she could start making new decisions for herself going forward. And she vowed to begin to give herself the things she truly loved and to let herself out of prison and out of the punishment cycle. As a Biofield facilitator, I have witnessed hundreds of these stories. I could share more, some of them pretty amazing. Oh, and by the way, the woman dropped all her symptoms. By the 4th session, she had no abdominal pain and no longer had back pain. She also shared with me that she stopped smoking marijuana. She had been a marijuana smoker her whole life. She said she didn't come to me to stop smoking, but that it just happened naturally. I've had many clients share that with me. The last thing I'll share is something my teacher shared with us when we were learning, and something that I too have experienced. She shared all the miracles that have happened since she's been working with people in groups and individually, and I too can share these stories now. She shared that when a miracle happens, we celebrate, and miracles are happening all the time. And when miracles are repeatable in this kind of work, it's technology. And I truly believe that this is an inner technology that we all have ability to connect with and receive guidance from. And I would be so honored to lead you into your biofield and back out again. And I look forward to hearing your miracle story. Thank you so much for listening.